You're the very first voice people hear when you hear Reasonable Doubt.
Which is amazing.
Which is incredible.
To me, amazing because of all the hard work that it took for him to do that. I just explained to you, he wasn't getting a deal. He was about to quit. It was everything that led up to that moment. And the first thing you hear when you press play is me. So originally, the premise of it was supposed to be Reasonable Doubt. He was going to be on trial for being the dopest MC. I mean, this is like in the shadows of the O.J. Simpson trial, which was really big at the time, and that's really what they wanted to go with. Like, he was on trial too, because how big that whole O.J. thing was. But yeah, I'm on trial for being the dopest MC. And
that's so dope. I never knew that.
Well, that's why you hear on songs like 22 Twos, you know, Maria Davis, who does skits. Big shout out to Maria Davis and our whole family. She used to do Mad Wednesdays with Jay-Z. I know you got, you know, a lot of trouble running with the law. You know what I mean? Maria Davis, we back you up, Mad Wednesdays. You know what I mean? So that was sort of like what was going to be the concept of the album. Then I come in, and when I came in, I changed that. You know, not purposely, but like.
What do you mean by changing?
Well, like I just said, due to the fact how angry they were at the system and how angry they were at the industry, that FU mentality, which I was able to display at the label, is what they wanted on the album. So instead of being now Reasonable Doubt, Trial, it's more like, you know what, Payne? Go tell them F you. And that's really what I did. You know, okay, I'm reloaded. Think you big time? I said, well, Jay-Z, you're gonna die big time. Here come the pain. Like, you know, here we come. This is the rally call for us, for the Roc-A-Fellas. And remember, around this time, the buzz was insane. You think Jay-Z's big now? Jay-Z back in 96 was the biggest thing that you could ever imagine. And not on that level that you think of now. Just the buzz was so insane in New York. Like, artists back then were getting the deals that he wanted and getting little advances, you know, chump change compared to what he had in his pocket. And we were going to these clubs. I was 16 years old. I was going to these clubs, buying out bars. I mean, bottles upon bottles of like champagne. Like that old rhyme, nursery rhyme, 100 bottles of beer on the wall. Like this was 100 bottles of champagne on the table. You know what I mean? So the buzz was just so crazy. Like he would go to clubs and he would hand these owners money to shut down the club so we could just party and only exclusive people could come in. That's 96. So imagine how much he's advanced now. Like he's on a global level big, you know, rolling with presidents and changing industries and everything like that. But he was just as big in 96 in this genre, just as big as he is now. That name Jay-Z, just like it rings bells right now, true to form in 96, it rang bells just as loud, which was crazy for an unsigned artist. You know what I mean? Unsigned is a key word because that shows you the greatness of him, that people didn't even see it back then. The powers that be couldn't even imagine how big he was or he could be. And now look, that's why I laugh every time, you know, I see another successful venture conquered. Like he did it again. You know, because this hip hop thing, it's more than just music. You live hip hop. You know what I mean? You live it. It's the only genre that you actually live. You don't live jazz, you don't live rock and roll. You live hip hop. The way you dress, the way you talk. And there's no disrespect to jazz or rock and roll. It's not saying that because obviously the fans of those music and that genre too, they understand. They love that with a passion, but there's something about hip hop that you actually live it. So explaining to you how much it means to me to be on Reasonable Doubt, like I said before, my mother died when I was 12 years old. Now that sounds, you know, I'm not trying to get any sympathy for that. What I'm trying to say is when your mother's not at home and there's no one there to raise you, you have to go other parts to find love. So you hit the streets, and not in that way. I didn't hit the streets, I'm selling drugs at 12 years old, but that's where you end up getting most of your education. That's where you get most of your school and everything. It's the streets. So now, yes, I would hang out with people that maybe were up to things that are not status quo. But what was I doing? I was doing the same thing I did on Reasonable Doubt. I'm hanging out all night on the block with the Elder crew, and I'm entertaining them. I'm doing voiceovers. I'm doing, you know, Mickey from Roc, and I'm making them laugh till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning while they're out there doing their thing. So which means so much to me is that on Reasonable Doubt, I'm being me. And they taught me about hip hop, you know, those kids on the corner. And here I am reversing the cycle Then teaching me a genre, I end up being on one of the greatest albums of all time ever created from the genre, doing what I did on that block. So to me, it means that much. You know, it means so much that, you know, I'm not freestyling, I'm not rhyming, I'm not beatboxing, I'm being pain in the ass to start off Reasonable Doubt. I'm contributing to the music I love, to the genre that I live in my own terms. And nobody could ever beat that. You can't put a price on that.